Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Abhyanga Vallabha Kevaladhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Kevaladhari Jana Vallabha Kevaladhari Yasodanandana Bhajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhajadana Yamunate Avanacha Yamunate Avanacha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya And this morning we will be reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 1, starting text 95. Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
So this section at the end of the first chapter of the Adi Lila is, the entire section is factually a commentary, or the continuation of a commentary on the second text of this chapter. So I first read the second text to remind us what we are reading about. Text 2. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Soido Yadodaya Pushpan Vanto Chitrahanda Tamomudo. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Shri Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. While like the sun and moon, they have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Now text 95. Do we get it on the screen now? Yeah. So you can repeat. Yanara prasade tamohayanas.
Yanara prasade tamohayanas.
Tamona sakari kare tatvira prakaya. Yanara Prasade Tamohayanas
Yara Prasade Tamohayanas
Tamona Sakare Kare Tatvera Prakash
Tamona Kare Kare Tatvera Prakash
Yanara Prasade Tamohayanas Tamona Sakare Kare Tatvera Prakash. Someone wants to repeat. Yanara Prasade Tamohayanas Tamona Sakare Kare Tatvera Prakash.
Yanara Prasade Tamohayanasha
Yanara Prasade Tamohayanas
Tamona Kare Kare Tatvera Prakasha
Tamona Sakare Kare Tatvera Prakash. Yanara Prasade Tamohayanas Tamona Sakare Kare Tatvera Prakash. Yanara Prasade Tamohayanas Tamona Sakare Kare Tatvera Prakash. For a translation. Yanara whose Prasade by the grace this Tama darkness Haya is Nasa destroyed Tama darkness Nasa destruction Kari doing Kari thus Tatvera of the truth Prakash discovery. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, this darkness of ignorance is removed and the truth is brought to light. That's text 96, 95. Next one. Tatra vastu Krishna Krishna Bhakti Prema Rupa Nama Sankirtana Sabha Ananda Svarupa. The absolute truth is see Krishna, and loving devotion to see Krishna exhibited in pure love is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is the essence of all bliss. Sakshunmilitam yena tasmai shigurave namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Snipastaya Bhutali Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamani. Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sinyavadi Paskachai Dasatarani. So the chanting of the holy name is the essence of all bliss. That essence of all bliss is achieved by congregational chanting. So Lord Krishna is always in bliss. Even if he kills demons, Krishna is always in bliss. Because he is always full of bliss, knowledge, eternal. It's unending bliss. So if we connect with Krishna, we connect with the unlimited blissful, then we get a drop of the bliss. So how do we connect with that source of all bliss? That sign is called Bhakti Yoga, or devotional service, the signs how to connect with Krishna. And that connection in this age, the Yoga Dharma is the chanting of the holy name, because the holy name is non-different from Krishna. But sometimes we chant, we don't feel blissful. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with the holy name. The holy name is full of bliss. But our heart is covered by darkness and ignorance. And in the previous verse it is said, this darkness of ignorance is removed and the truth is brought to light by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. We go to the next verse about dissipating this darkness from the heart. Surya Chandra Bhairera Tamase Vinase Bhairvashtu Katapata Adi Se Prakashe. The sun and moon dissipate the darkness of the external world and thus reveal external material objects like pots and plates. Doye Bairidara Ksali Andakara Doye Bairidara Ksali Andakare Doye Bhagavata Sanghe Karana Sat Satkara. But these two brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart, and thus they help one meet two kinds of Bhagavatas, persons or things in relationship with the personality of Godhead. So we have two Bhagavatas here. Who are these two Bhagavatas? That's explained in the next verse. What are these two Bhagavatas? So we learn here we need to meet two kinds of Bhagavatas, and then the darkness in the core of our heart will be removed when we meet these two kinds of Bhagavatas. And this is explained, these two Bhagavatas in text 99. Eko Bhagavata Bhata Bhagavata Shastra Ara Bhagavata Bhakti Bhakti Rasapatra. One of the Bhagavatas is the great scripture Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other is the pure devotee absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion. When we study the Bhagavatam and we hear the Bhagavatam, we usually chant Nastraya Sabatya Sunityan Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavata Tamastake Bhakti Bhakti Naistake. By rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, that's the first Bhagavata, and by daily attending the classes of Srimad Bhagavatam is the second Bhagavata. That all what is troublesome to the heart is nearly completely removed. So this darkness is removed from the heart. It's the same principle. In the purport of this verse of the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada speaks about these two Bhagavatas, the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. The person Bhagavat lives. He lives according to the book Bhagavat. It's the living Bhagavat. That Srila Prabhupada is our living Bhagavat. Harisari Prabhu gave a seminar on that, the living Bhagavat, about Prabhupada. So that is 99 explains these two Bhagavats. And now we need these two Bhagavats to purify our heart. Text 100. Due Bhagavattadvara Tiya Bhakti Ras Tanare Hridaya Tanre Prema Through the actions of these two Bhagavats, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service in the heart of a living entity, of a living being, and thus the Lord in the heart of his devotee comes under the control of the devotee's love. So that we need these two Bhagavats to purify our heart. And then, if our heart is pure, this mellow of transcendental loving service in the heart becomes manifested. It's transcendental mellow. Rupa Goswami calls it bhakti rasa. Bhakti rasa. The pleasure of being situated in our relationship with Krishna and feeling Krishna's presence every moment. And this bhakti rasa is different from material rasa. Material rasa is bhoga tyag. Bhoga tyag. Sometimes it is enjoyable material pleasure, and sometimes not. Mostly not. The time of enjoyment is very short. It's very short. Chapala sukha, that Rupa Goswami, it's flickering. It's there just for a moment. And then, yes, if one has attained this transcendental loving service, then the Lord comes under control of his devotee. This is the high stage of love of Godhead. Text 101. Eka adbhuta samakale donara prakash, ara adbhuta shita guhara tamakaranas. The first wonder is that both brothers appear simultaneously, and the other is that they illuminate the innermost depths of the heart. So these two brothers appear simultaneously. Who are these two brothers? Yeah, but here it's also the pure devotee and the Bhagavatam. They appear together. When Srila Prabhupada came to New York from India, what was he carrying with him? Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam and the pure devotee was carrying them. So they appear together. And Srila Prabhupada came to illuminate the innermost depths of our heart. So yes, 102. E Chandra Suryadoye Paramasadaya Charatera Bhakya Gaude Kerala Odoy. These two, the sun and the moon, are very kind to the people of the world. Thus, for the good fortune of all, they have appeared on the horizon of Bengal. And horizon of Bengal, Srila Prabhupada speaks about this Gauda in the purport. The celebrated ancient capital of the Sena dynasty, which was known as Gaudadesh or Gauda, was situated in what is now the modern district of Malda. Later, this capital was transferred to the ninth or central island on the western side of the Ganges at Navadvip, which is now known as Mayapur, and was then called Gaudapur. Lord Chaitanya appeared there, and Lord Nityananda came there and joined him from the district of Birbhum. They appeared on the horizon of Kaldadesh to spread the signs of Krishna consciousness. And it is predicted that as the sun and moon gradually moves west, the movement they began 500 years ago will come to the Western civilization by their mercy. Prabhupada speaking here, he's writing, he came to the West, he did it. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu drive away the 5 kinds of ignorance of the conditioned soul. In the Mahabharata Udyoga Parva, 43rd chapter, these 5 kinds of ignorance are described as, there are 5. The first is accepting the body as the self. Second, making material sense gratification one standards of enjoyment. That's the second illusion. The third, being anxious due to material identification. 4 is lamenting. 5, thinking that there is anything beyond the absolute truth. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya eradicate these 5 kinds of ignorance. Whatever one sees or otherwise experiences, one should know to be simply an exhibition of the Supreme Personality of God, its energy. Everything is a manifestation of Krishna. So that's also one of the purposes of the book Bhagavad. The book Bhagavad teaches us how everything is factually Krishna's energy, is related to Krishna. Nothing is unrelated to Krishna. Krishna is in every atom. That Krishna is in everyone's heart. Krishna is in the atoms and between the atoms. Krishna cannot be separated from the material energy. But because we see it separate, our vision comes material. And Prahlad Maharaj speaks about that in the 7th canto. He speaks about the separatist mentality, seeing things different, separated from Krishna. And that illusion starts with one accepting the body to be the self. You accept the body to be the self. That's where the separation begins. I think I'm a man. You separate yourself from all the women. You think I'm a New Yorker, I'm from America. You separate yourself from all the other countries. Separation. That is a vision of separation. One thing, but the separation comes from forgetting Krishna. You forget Krishna. And when you forget Krishna, you forget who you are. Because you forget who you are, you start to identify with the body. And then you think you are the body, so you want to give pleasure to the body. Material sense gratification comes. But then it's not what is expected. And you get frustration, you get in anxiety in so many ways, because you identify with the body. And it doesn't work out, you start to lament. So it's all connected with each other, but it begins with forgetting Krishna and seeing things separate from Krishna. Text 103. Seduya Prabhuikari Charana Vandam Yana Aite Vichnanasa Abhishta Puram. Let us therefore worship the holy feet of these 2 lords. Thus one can be rid of all difficulties on the path of self-realization. Eduya sloka kaila mangala vandam Triya slokira achtasuna sarvajanam I've invoked the benediction of the Lord with these two verses. This was text 1 and 2 at the beginning of this chapter. I read text 2 at the beginning. So now please hear attentively of the purpose of the third verse. The third verse establishes Lord Chaitanya as the absolute truth. I read the translation of text 3. What the Upanishads describe as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body, and the Lord known as the super soul is but his localized plenary portion. Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences. He is the absolute truth, and no other truth than no other truth is greater than or equal to him. So it establishes the Lord Chaitanya as non-different from Krishna. So yes, now continue reading. Text 105. Vaktavya Bauhulya Shanta Vishter Eradare Vishtarena Varni Sarachtakai Alpaksare. I purposely avoid extensive descriptions for fear of increasing the bulk of this book. I shall describe the essence as concisely as possible. Mittam sasaram vadvacho evahmita ite. Essential truth spoken concisely is through eloquence. It's not easy. 107. Next verse, 107, is a Shruti file. Because factually, the entire next chapter is a commentary of this third verse of this first chapter, establishing Lord Chaitanya as Krishna himself. And this is a Shruti file who hears this chapter, that what will be the result? Sunile kandi bechitra Arhyana didosha Krishna gada preme habe paiva santosha. Simply hearing submissively will free one's heart from all the faults of ignorance, and thus one will achieve deep love for Krishna. This is the path of peace. Yeah. So your ignorance will be gone from the heart, and then you will achieve deep love for Krishna. 108, 109. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Mahatva Tanra Bhakta Bhakti Nama Premera Satatva Bina Likiyachi Karya Vichar Sunile Chaniba Saba Vastuta Vasar. If one patiently hears about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Prabhu, and their devotees, devotional activities, name and fame, along with the mellows of their transcendental exchanges, one will learn the essence of the absolute truth. Therefore, I've described this in Chaitanya Charitamrita with logic and discrimination. Then, text 110. Just a moment. And then. Shirupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asam Chaitanya Charitamrita Kai Krishna Dasam. Praying at the lotus feet of Shirupa and Shri Raghunath, always desired their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate the Chaitanya Charitamrita following in their footsteps. And then we will recite the first 2 verses of the next chapter. But before reciting them, I will read the summary. Chapter 2. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This chapter explains that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Therefore, the Brahman effulgence is the bodily luster of Lord Chaitanya, and the localized supersoul situated in the heart of every living entity is his partial representation. The Purusha avatars are also explained in this connection. Mahavishnu is the reservoir of all conditioned souls, but as confirmed in the authoritative scriptures, Lord Krishna is the ultimate fountainhead, the source of numerous plenary expansions, including Narayan, who is generally accepted by Mayavadi philosophers to be the absolute truth. The Lord's manifestation of Prabhava, and Vaibhav expansions, as well as partial incarnations and incarnations with delegated powers, are also explained. Lord Krishna's ages of boyhood and youth are discussed, and it is explained that his age at the beginning of youth is his eternal form. The spiritual sky contains innumerable spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas, which are manifestations of the Supreme Lord's internal energy. Innumerable material universes are similarly exhibited by his external energy, and the living entities are manifested by his marginal energy. Because Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya is no different from Lord Krishna, he is the cause of all causes. There is no cause beyond him. He is eternal, and his form is spiritual. Lord Chaitanya is directly the Supreme Lord Krishna, as the evidence of the authoritative scriptures proves. This chapter stresses that the devotee who wishes to advance in Krishna consciousness must have knowledge of Krishna's personal form, his 3 principal energies, his pastimes, and the relations of the living entities with him. So you must know who Krishna is, his personal form. Then you must know his principal energies, spiritual, material, and energies, and his pastimes, and his relationship with the living entities. Text 1. Shri Chaitanya Prabhum Vande Palapiyat Anugrahat Dharinam Matarai Vyaktam Siddhanta Sagaram. From our basis to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even an ignorant child can swim across the ocean of the conclusive truth, which is full of the crocodiles of various theories. Srila Prabhupada speaks about these crocodiles in the purport. That 6 crocodiles we will hear. By the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even an inexperienced boy with no educational culture, can be saved from the ocean of nations, which is full of various types of philosophical doctrines that are like dangerous aquatic animals. The philosophy of the Buddha, the argumentative presentations of the Jnanis, the yoga systems of Patanjali and Gautama, and the systems of philosophers like Kanada, Kapila, and that Atreya are dangerous creatures in the ocean of nations. By the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can have real understanding of the essence of knowledge by avoiding these sectarian views and accepting the lotus feet of Krishna as the ultimate goal of life. Let us all worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his gracious mercy to the conditioned. So mainly these 6 darshans are mentioned, which are atheistic. And in chapter 87 of the 10th canto, there Prabhupada refutes all these 6 darshans. That it is said one who sits on the Vyasasan must be able to refute these 6 darshans. That's interesting. That's now text 2 gives us the good news. Looks like. Yeah. No, I don't know which meter. Krishna Kirtanagana Nartanakala Patochani Parijita Sat Bhakta Vali Hamsa Sakra Madhupa Shreni Vyaraspadam Karnana Dikale Pranir Vahatu Me Jiva Marupan Kane Shitchetanya Doyanide Tavalasa Lasalila Sudha Svarduni. O my merciful Lord Chaitanya, make the nectarian Ganges waters of your transcendental activities flow on the surface of my desert-like tongue. Beautifying these waters are the lotus flowers of singing, dancing, and loud chanting of Krishna's holy name, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees are compared to swans, ducks, and bees. The river's flowing produces a melodious sound that gladdens their ears. The nectarian stream of Lord Chaitanya's transcendental activities. Purport. Our tongues are always engaged in vibrating, useless sounds that do not help us realize transcendental peace. The tongue is compared to a desert because a desert needs a constant supply of refreshing water to make it fertile and fruitful. Water is a substance most needed in the desert. The transient pleasure derived from mundane topics of art, culture, politics, sociology, dry philosophy, poetry, and so on is compared to a mere drop of water because although such topics have a qualitative feature of transcendental pleasure, they are saturated with the modes of material nature. Therefore, neither collectively nor individually can they satisfy the vast requirements of the desert-like tongue. Despite crying in various conferences, therefore the desert-like tongue continues to be parched. For this reason, people from all parts of the world must call for the devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are compared to swans swimming around the beautiful lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or bees humming around his lotus feet in transcendental pleasure searching for honey. The dryness of material happiness cannot be moistened by so-called philosophers who cry for Brahman, liberation, and similarly dry speculative objects. The urge of the soul proper is different. the soul can be solaced only by the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his many bona fide devotees who never leave the lotus feet of the Lord to become imitation Mahaprabhus, but all cling to the lotus feet like bees that never leave a honey-soaked lotus flower. Lord Chaitanya's movement of Krishna consciousness is full of dancing and singing about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. It is compared herein to the pure waters of the Ganges, which are full of lotus flowers. The enjoyers of these lotus flowers are the pure devotees, who are like bees and swans. They chant like the flowing of the Ganges, the river of the celestial kingdom. The author desires such sweetly flowing waves to cover his tongue. He humbly compares himself to materialistic persons who always engage in dry talk, from which they derive no satisfaction. If they were to use their dry tongues to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, as exemplified by Lord Chaitanya, they would taste sweet nectar and enjoy life. So, pure devotees, they enjoy hearing these nectarian pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So, there are three kinds of happiness: material happiness, then the happiness of merging with Brahman, and you have the transcendental devotional happiness. Three kinds of happiness. And the devotees are absorbed in the highest happiness, the devotional happiness, which cannot even be compared to a drop of happiness of Brahman. Even that drop multiplied 1,000,000 times is not even a drop of the pleasure derived from becoming absorbed in the happiness of devotional service. Of course, we don't get that happiness unless our heart is pure. So in the purport of Bhagavad Gita 10.9, this verse speaks about how the devotees derive this transcendental happiness. Machita machata prana bodhayantas praspam kartyantas samamniyam tushanti sharamanti sham. So one derives pleasure from conversing and speaking about Krishna. So we derive pleasure from that. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, in the beginning, one must derive satisfaction from the service itself. And later, when the heart is purified, we experience this love of God, this happiness described here. But in the beginning, we derive satisfaction from the service itself. We derive that satisfaction if we perform devotional service properly, with the proper motivation only to please Krishna. And no desire for fruitive activities, no desire for liberation, just to please Krishna out of love. And then we will derive that satisfaction, that later when the heart is pure, then we will come to that point of relishing this nectarian transcendental activities of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. This is the highest. This is the third chapter, is describing the third verse. And the fourth verse describes how Lord Chaitanya gave us what no incarnation before gave. And that is the relationship with Krishna in conjugal love. That because Lord Chaitanya came in that mood of Srimad Radharani. These are very confidential. It brings us to the confidential and internal reasons for the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. So, I read the section and said a few words here and there where I could comment. Any comments? Yes, Maharaj.
You mentioned a little while ago that Prabhupada refuted various philosophies in Canto
87th chapter, yeah.
And that's the prayer personification.
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's an entire chapter. The entire chapter is refuting so many false philosophies. It's a big chapter and not easy to understand. It's very philosophical. But it's nice if we study the chapter deeply, that helps you to preach more effectively. Sure. Thank you, Maharaj.
It just makes me think now. Like those purports in the 87th chapter of the 10th canto, they're coming from the Krishna book? When Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book and they implemented that commentary into the 87th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, you can also read it in Krishna book. But of course, the devotees who worked on that section derived a lot of information from Krishna book, because it's all in Krishna book also. It's very interesting chapter.
I remember hearing some of Prabhupada's commentary. I was just listening to the 87th chapter of the Krishna book a couple of days ago. And there's so many things I feel like I had to keep rewinding.
Yeah.
Listening to them, so it's reminding me again to go back.
Yeah, well, I've had the same experience, just reading once. You have to read it. I was reading it in French. It's very philosophical, but very clear. Because if you can defeat these darshans, then you can defeat many other philosophies also. Because even Western philosophies have derived or have similar presumptions, which are it's an interesting chapter. Anything else? Yes.
I have a question. Lord Chaitanya's mercy, he gives freely. He's distributing to everyone, and we're hearing how blissful it is hearing and chanting. But we also understand that according to our own, adhikar, and according to whatever bhakti samsara we've accumulated, then our kind of ceiling, at least until we make serious progress, is different for everyone. So I was thinking, how do we understand that the mercy is free for everyone, but at the same time we're all coming at different levels, and we don't seem to all get the same experience.
I repeat the question. So the point is that yes, it seems we are all on different levels when we chant because we don't have the same experience. So and how is that? Well, the chanting has three main phases. That the offensive chanting, that's the first. It's difficult to make advancement. Therefore, we are repeating every morning these 10 offenses to get out of this offensive stage. And then the next stage is the clearing stage. It's called Imadurya Kanambini and Bhagavad Goswami Anartha Nivriti also. It's a clearing stage. And for the chanting, Haridas Thakur calls this Namabhas. And that can give liberation, but it takes a while. And then when our heart is pure, we come to pure chanting. And experience in every stage is different. And it's not that we are going from one moment to another to the next stage, it's gradual. Because in the offensive stage, still we will feel some level of satisfaction, but no bliss. And it's difficult to make advancement. But when you come into the clearing stage, then it starts to change. You start to see a little light coming. And it becomes more pleasurable, the chanting. But once the heart is pure, you feel very quickly ecstasy. And the ecstasy, your attraction for Krishna has become natural. Because these stages, that's always, because our relationship with Krishna factually is there, but it's dormant. It's dormant. And we have to remove the covering. That's what Haridas Thakur says. You have to remove the covering. And that takes a while. And as the more the covering is removed, the more one advances. And so the experience is different. Experience is different. Experience of an Uttamadikar, a Madhyamadikar, and Kanishtabikar, different experiences. Mm-hmm. Yes. Anything else? Good. Thank you very much. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai.